What is up, everybody? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to my Gotham Season 4 Episode 12 breakdown Q&A breakdown. Now, in case you guys don't already know, I mentioned this in my trailer breakdown. For the back half of the season, instead of doing like a straight up review, I want to do a review in the format of a Q&A. This way, you know, you guys get to ask me exactly what you want to ask me about the episode, but this way also it allows me to talk about things that I may not have talked about anyway if I were to review it myself. So I really like this format. You guys have sent in so many questions, so I will remind you again for the next episode of Gotham. But if you don't know already, all you have to do is go to my community tab, and for episode 13 the post isn't up there yet obviously, but when that is aired there'll be a new post where you can post any question related to the episode. Don't bother posting stuff in generic Gotham questions, just post stuff related to the episode, because after all this is an episode 12 breakdown through the format of a Q&A. So if you do go on to enjoy this video, and only if you do, hit that like button, as it really does show your support for the channel. And I know I always say that, but it literally does. You guys smashed the like button last time, and you know, I've never really wanted to use that phrase, but you literally did. I set a goal for 500 and you hit over 1,000, so thank you so much for your support, guys. The Gotham community is just wonderful. And if you're new to this channel and you want to stay up to date with more episode Q&A breakdowns just like this, then be sure to subscribe to never miss out on one. So the first question is asked by Fletcher O'Riordan. I hope I said your name correctly, and it is, what did you think of Harvey this episode? So I thought Harvey was brilliant, and he always is. I don't think he's going to have a massive story arc until like he rejoins the GCPD, and I think that might be one of the future questions. But overall, yeah, Harvey this episode was good. I liked him interacting with Sean Pertwee, who plays Alfred. That scene was awesome. I think that's another question, but overall I would like him to be back at the GCPD right now, but I get what's going on. There's been a bit of drama between Jim and him, and then Sophia, and you know, him being captain now, which is Jim. And, you know, he's back working at that bar. I should have said this first and foremost, but Donald Logue, who plays Harvey, I love him to pieces. So I thought he was brilliant in this episode. Any Harvey I love, even though I'm not a massive fan of the fact that Jim and him aren't getting along at the minute. It's for the sake of story. So yeah, I really liked Harvey. So the second question is actually asked by a couple of people, but firstly, Golden Goose says, do you think Toyman's son will ever take on the role of the new Toyman? By the way, I'm a huge fan and you're awesome. Thank you very much, Golden Goose. And also, same question, and this was asked by a few people, to be honest. Mouse in the Casino, hashtag YOLO, what a name. Why did they kill off the Toyman so early? So I was surprised by this, and as I said, a few other people asked this, so just for the sake of everyone's question, in terms of Toyman, why did they kill him off so early? First and foremost, I just want to say I really liked what they did with Toyman. His design was really cool, like the hat, the glasses and everything. And the surprise was very interesting with the Riddler, but that is another question for later. But ultimately, why did they kill Toyman off in this episode? I think, firstly, I was like, what? Okay, Gotham, you do your own thing, but this is something else. But then we got introduced to his son in the episode, which we can't forget about. Now, at first, I thought, like, he could be turned into a Toymaker, and I still think that now. But he didn't really seem like his father. Like, his father seemed obviously the unhinged one. He was the one who took the contract if you would say, from Riddler to kill Dr. Lee Tompkins, which was interesting because the synopsis said a doc, and I didn't pick that up at all. But do I think that the Toymaker's son could take on the role of the Toymaker in terms of, like, the Toymaker for Batman? Of course. Like, why not? He's working in his father's shop, if I remember correctly. He seems, you know, he's a bit nerdy and he's kind of got the image of Toymaker from what we've seen on the animated series as well. So yeah, why not? Toymaker's son could be Toymaker. Gotham seems to do a few things like that if you think about it as well, in terms of Scarecrow. That got introduced with his father, and then Jonathan Crane. His father was predominantly the first proto-Scarecrow, trying to get the fear out of people. So yeah, similar thing to that. I definitely think that would be the case. Otherwise, yeah, they would have killed off Toymaker when he wasn't even... yeah, Batman wasn't even around. Next question is from Iomix South, and she or he says, what is happening to Riddler? It's like he's Two-Face. So everyone should know by now that the Riddler, or should I say Edward Enigma, the way Gotham have done it, they're kind of two separate personalities, if you will. So I get what you mean by Two-Face. So if you go back to season 1, the Ed we knew there was kind of quite simply put, Edward Nigma. There wasn't a Riddler persona there, but yes, that did seep through the cracks throughout season 1. Now, this is going back quite a bit because now we all know we've got full-blown Riddler. But yeah, your question is right. Like, what is going on? Over the past couple of seasons, if you remember in season 3, the birth of the Riddler really became a thing. So this isn't anything new with what's going on with Ed. To put it short, for now, because you know I like to blab on a bit, he's still struggling with that persona. Whenever Ed kind of goes back to not being the Riddler will always try and break through the Edward Nigma. So I'll use the example I just spoke about a second ago. In season 1, we actually had this kind of dude who was working at the GCPD, just your average dude who just was trying to work hard at his job, liked a girl, was kind of picked on by other people. You could argue a bit of mental problems and stuff like that as well had a part to play in it, but you know, with the cops teasing him, he got that kind of other side to him that started to come out. A couple of seasons go by, we've got the Riddler in season 3, that was really birthed then. Ever since the ice thing, when Penguin froze Riddler, obviously he lost the Riddler kind of side to him, so what was left was just the Edward Nigma. He wanted his intelligence back and his craftiness, but, you know, as we all know, Dr. Lee Tompkins said he kind of had it there all along after the brain freeze stuff kind of wore off. But yeah, there are kind of two different people. I do know what you mean. It is kind of like Two-Face the way Gotham have done it. I feel like they should make the Riddler persona permanent, rather than kind of conflicting between these two personalities, because then you never kind of get this fully fledged evil Edward Nigma. There's always this side to him that is good, but then again, that does make it interesting. But you have to think about the future. Does he forever, when Batman comes around, is he always the evil Riddler personality? Or is there always a chance that, you know, he can come back from the edge and be Edward Nigma, the guy who doesn't want to kill Lee Tompkins, the guy who's kind of actually quite nice and doesn't even remember all of this stuff. So yeah. But this whole subject also ties in with Crazy Hot Sauce 05's question. Hey Boba, what did you think about the Riddler hiring the Toymaker to kill Lee? I've already kind of covered that. And the Calendar Man also asked, after his Toymaker question, also, how do you think Enigma will fight the Riddler, since the Riddler clearly has the upper hand and is a superior foe? And there was another question as well saying, what is going on? So what is going on is that Ed actually isn't aware when the Riddler takes over, which is what makes this very interesting and also very frightening for Ed. And how will Ed combat the Riddler, since he is kind of the superior foe? He is the intelligence, he is the evil brains and everything behind. Well, I don't know, like Ed doesn't really stand much of a chance against the Riddler. I don't think he will combat him too much, because I feel like that persona is ultimately going to take over. So I don't think that Enigma will kind of fight off that other personality. I mean, he will try to, but ultimately I think they'll just merge and fuse together. Some of you might be asking yourselves right now, why did you talk about that part for so long? Because I felt like the whole Enigma aspect of this episode was pretty huge. You know, he was the one who set up the Toymaker, and we have been teased with the Riddler breaking back through his personality for the past couple of episodes. So sorry to go on about the Enigma stuff. So Kyle Hunter asks, what is my favorite season of Gotham? And it's not really so related to the episode Q&A, but to be honest, it kind of is at the same time. It is 4 at the minute. This, I truly feel like the momentum and everything we've got going this season is just the best. You know, the more this show has developed, the more it is sprouted like a flower, to be honest. You know, at the beginning it's not so pretty, but it's still alright. You know, it's going to be good, hopefully, and yeah, it's blossoms into something good. But we're not answering that. What we are answering is, did you like Bruce's introduction at the Sirens Club? Yes I did. I know everyone is getting pissed off by this whole Bruce teenage angst thing, words from the executive producers themselves, and I've already explained this before, but very shortly, they are doing this for a reason. We have to know one day, how does or why does Bruce Wayne, when he is Batman, publicly act like a playboy billionaire brat? Well, it's also to distract from his, you know, identity and completely separate him from, how could this guy be the Batman? But how did he learn to do that? Through actually living it himself. So that's what they're doing right now. So did I like that? Yeah, ever since really concentrating on that, and you know what they showed in the Sirens, I don't feel like Bruce was too annoying. It was pretty funny, to be honest, and I liked his interactions with Selena and stuff, and I liked how he was even in the Sirens bar. I guess it's because he's Bruce Wayne. But yeah, I quite liked it. It's going to be over any week now. I think it will be over very soon. Because actually it might be over as of next episode, because we're getting the Ivy vision which is alongside the Jerome Penguin episode. So yeah, I really liked it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below as well, since the Bruce teenage angst thing is almost over. Charlie Bone asks, and this is kind of related, I guess, to the episode, do you think we will see more of Alfred the rest of the season? I guess, I think I've seen a few people ask that, since, I guess, Alfred isn't with Master B at the minute. Yes, of course we will. Sean Pertwee is like one of the bigger roles on this show, and he'll always probably be in most of the episodes, except maybe one or two. Yes, there is some stuff, there's some behind the scenes stuff I've seen. He might, just to tease you guys, and some of you probably would know this already, go back to, like, you know, he served in, I don't think it was the Secret Service, can't remember, something in the military. He did some extra special stuff. That kind of stuff will be coming back this season. He'll be utilizing his skills to find a certain penguin around the city. But yeah, he'll be in it. Of course he will. Plus, you know, he's Alfred. Of course he's going to be in the show. Okay, so Miles Robertson. Hey Boba, first time on here. So here are some questions I have from Gotham Season 4, Episode 12. This is the way to ask you guys directly for this episode. I will do generic Q&As for the season, by the way, but yeah, for these episode Q&As, I just want direct questions. Your thoughts on having Grundy go full-blown butch, which I'm not happy about. The Riddler returning without Enigma knowing, which I've already covered. Also, last question, the full-blown birth of Poison Ivy. Thanks for reading. Would love to hear your answers to my questions on the video. Lastly, keep up the impressive work, man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the support. So what do I think of the whole butch thing? And I've seen plenty of comments asking me this as well. I don't know how I feel about it. I really liked Butch, and I've always said that I wanted them to keep Drew in the show, so I'm happy they made him Grundy, because I really like the actor, Drew Powell. But I did admit that I felt like Butch wasn't going places, really. I mean, he could have stayed in Gotham, but he wouldn't really have... There wouldn't have been much point having on-time screen stuff with him. It would have felt forced. So when they changed it to Grundy, it was like a new beginning for him, and they could have tied in the bashing over the head stuff, kind of cracking in Butch a little bit. But yeah, now they've kind of done like, oh, I'm Butch Gilzine, or I was Butch Gilzine, when he was Grundy, like in his Grundy form. Now, I don't really know how I feel about it. I guess I'm not too happy about it either. I wanted it to be a bit more of a struggle. They did kind of put across in the episode, however, in their defense, that when he was talking to Tabitha, that he did feel, you know, I think he said something like, in this thick, clouded head of mine. So he's not mega full-on Butch again. He definitely is half Grundy, half Butch. He does definitely probably feel completely, you know, stupid compared to what he was. So I think at the end of the day, what they're trying to go for, and what I do respect, is make Grundy a bit more of a complicated character, make him a bit more relatable, you know, make his story a bit more interesting through adding the mix of a guy's personality who's kind of been lost ever since transforming into this new persona, and going to and fro with that adds quite a bit of an interesting dynamic in the show. I guess I don't want too much Butch, but I do want him still. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I guess we'll still have to see how it goes. I think the way they're going to go with it is that he's going to be this kind of new version of Grundy that Gotham have created themselves, where Grundy is kind of a bit thicky, kind of stupidy kind of stuff, but he's going to have this personality to him from now on forth. But I think the Butch side of him will embrace this new persona, rather than still calling himself Butch Gilzine and going around as Butch. He's going to go around as this new identity. Oh, and as for Poison Ivy, since so many of you asked about Poison Ivy as well, and I may as well answer Miles's version of it. What did I think of Poison Ivy and, you know, the full-blown birth? I loved it. I really, really loved it. Now, I'm not discrediting Maggie Gayer or Claire Foley beforehand, but I was standing by this, and I've seen a lot of comments come in and say how they're really impressed by Ivy, that more than what they thought they would be. I love it. I think it's really comic book accurate. I loved when she got out of her little sack, she had Ivy attached to her leg and stuff. It was so out of a comic book page. Not only that, her powers are brilliant. And some of you are asking me, I can't remember, I'm just remembering off the top of my head about her kind of mental age or attitude, which was Holly. With Ivy's new transformation, what do you think happened to her mental age? Was she living with the mindset of a teenager like she sort of was before at the start of Season 3? So, I definitely think that she's naive in a sense. Like, I don't think she's going around and Peyton's completely changed the fact that, oh yeah, she's meant to be like, what, 14, 15, 16? I can't remember off the top of my head. Because she is still kind of... You can get that from her. She definitely is acting that. However, I definitely think these potions not only transformed her and gave her powers, but I think they, you know, since they changed your DNA and they are potions after all, and this is a comic book universe, I definitely think you could argue it gave her a bit more of a, you know, a personality change. Think about freaking potions. They kind of might have changed her attitude a little bit. Definitely embrace more of a plant side. She wants to make Gotham her bitch, or like make it her own green paradise. So yeah, I think she's still a kid inside, but she's wised up. It's giving her a bit of wisdom. Blame that on just potion effects and stuff like that. But yeah, I love it. I love Peyton, and I can't wait to see more. And yeah, amazing. Fletcher Riordan again asked, what did you think of this episode as a whole? A lot of characters were sidelined and barely got any screen time, and lots weren't in it. I get why though. In terms of your, because I've already kind of answered what I think of it as a whole. A lot of characters were sidelined. It's because this episode was more like the foundation block for season 4B. So the whole Jerome Penguin story arc is going to kick off crazy as of next week, and that's going to spiral throughout till the very end. They're still filming like episode 21 or whatever. But there's stuff they needed to get out of the way and cement. They needed to introduce Ivy this episode. That was very important, and that required quite a bit of screen time. And then you got the stuff like bringing back the Riddler, and then adding the twist with that behind the Toymaker. You had to address Alfred being kicked out for Bruce, but as of next episode, everything else can kind of come back into it. We're going to visit Jerome and Arkham, and so many of you have asked, why wasn't Jerome in episode 12? Because he wasn't, and it's not so important that he wasn't. This episode was still very good without Jerome and Penguin, and don't worry, that will be in episode 13 next week. Elizabeth Rose asks, do you think that the Sirens will keep their club or Penguin will take it again? Now, I don't know, but I think I've got a feeling that Penguin might take it back and it will become the Iceberg Lounge again. Now, I've lost count how many times it's gone back and forth, but I do know that Penguin does get his look back, his cane back, his suit back, and everything like that. And I think I saw some stuff where they were like on the set of the Iceberg Lounge. It's like, well, why would you call it the Iceberg Lounge if it was the Siren Spot? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it, because it's like it has been going back and forth so long now. But at the same time, Penguin will come back, and he's going to come back with Jerome and a whole villains team up. I wouldn't be surprised if he just regains control of the Sirens Bar alongside that. Like, why wouldn't he make it the Iceberg Lounge again? So I don't know. I have received a lot of questions about this, but YouTube Dweller says, do you think that Jill Rooney is the Joker? When I saw his reaction to Asked attacking him, I thought he could totally do it. He looks like the Joker too. Then take this one with a grain of salt. But Harvey says, who are these Jokers, when he asks about Jill. Now, or Gil, I can't remember his name, to be honest. But no, I know what you guys mean. All of you got the vibes. I got the vibes as well. I remember watching the episode, and I saw this character, and I thought, you know what? He could kind of play the Joker if, like... I got that as well. I thought that as I saw the scene. Probably we all thought the same thought around the similar time. But no, he's not going to be the Joker. Cameron Monaghan is going to be the Joker. Ziofi asks, when do you think Reyes Al Ghul is going to return? So he will return soon. Definitely soon. I think in the next 3 episodes. I think not next episode. I think he's going to kind of haunt Barbara a little bit before coming back. But then we'll get Bruce training with Reyes. So I don't know. But not in the next couple of episodes. I think possibly episode 15 or 16. And I'm going to make this the last question. Linda W says, why did Alfred sing so low? I can't believe there wouldn't be rich families to grab him as a butler after Bruce fired him. Now, I found that an interesting question. I don't think he sung so low, but I feel like if you think about everything Alfred has said, and I love this version of Alfred so much, and they've done such a good job with his character development. And I even mentioned it in the latest episode, like, he explained to the girl who ended up dying from the Joker-like dude that how did he get here, and it was some guy. He said he met a guy who brought him over here, like who gave him an opportunity, gave him a life. Because if you remember to earlier episodes this season, he said he was basically on the streets after leaving the military, a very, very messed up man. Like, he could have been so much darker if it wasn't for Thomas Wayne. But Thomas Wayne met him, he brought him over to America, gave him a job. So I think, honestly, the Waynes, up until Bruce's parents died, and now it's just Bruce, are more or less the only people Alfred has got in the world. So, because I don't think there's any family for him, 'cause, you know, he was basically on the streets back at home in Britain or England, whatever you want to say. But when Thomas Wayne brought him to America, Bruce is his only family. So he stooped so low because, yeah, you could argue some rich families out there might, you know, hire him as a butler or whatever. But I don't think he's actually known. I think the Waynes is his entire world, thanks to Thomas Wayne. And after that, after his, being chucked out by Bruce now, he is literally on the streets. And yeah, the only thing you would say is he should have some kind of money to stay somewhere, since I'm sure Bruce was paying him quite handsomely. And yes, he's his guardian, I guess, but he would still have some tap funds for that. But that's kind of a bit of a show flaw. Like, he shouldn't have been in the Narrows just wandering around. He should have had quite a bit of money. But apart from that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode 12 breakdown through this Q&A. If you did, leave a like on it, as it really does show you support for the channel. And as I said, if you want to make sure you have your question answered for the next Q&A, which will be for episode 13, all you have to do is go to my community page for when that episode is out. Look around the time for when that episode airs, and there will be a post there saying, post your questions here for the episode 13 Q&A, and it'll be something like this. If you're new to this channel and you want to stay more up to date with these Q&A breakdowns, then be sure to subscribe so you never miss it, and make sure you turn notifications on to be alerted for every video I upload. If you guys want to follow me on social media, you can do so by following me on the links popping up on the screen around here, or in the description below. I recommend Twitter because that's where I post the most. I also have Discord, guys. You can find that by going to my community tab section. I made a post about it a couple of posts ago. We've got like around 70 something people now. We're all talking about all the different shows, so come and join us. There's like loads of different channels in there for Gotham and all the other DC TV shows. There's just general chat where you can talk about anything. There's loads of stuff going on in there, and it's really fun, so be sure to join my Discord channel if you have Discord. If you don't, check it out, because it's a fun little place where this little Boba community can interact. Apart from that, guys, I want to thank each and every one of my patrons from obviously my Patreon. I really appreciate your support as always. If you want to check my Patreon page out and you might want to see some of the tiers, go ahead and look at those links in the description, because my link to my Patreon will be in there. But apart from that, guys, that's everything I've got to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.